This video takes you to one of the most bizarre and mysterious events in history, the Dancing Plague of 1518. Imagine this. People of all ages and backgrounds suddenly hit with an irresistible urge to dance, unable to stop no matter how exhausted or in pain they became. Sounds like something out of a strange dream, right? Well, let's uncover the secrets behind this fascinating phenomenon. This story took place in Strasbourg, France, where in July of 1518, a woman named Frau Trophia stepped out of her house and into the streets, and began to dance. At first, it may have seemed like harmless fun, but soon others joined in, and before they knew it, the dancing plague had taken hold. What made this event even more peculiar was the fact that the dancers showed no signs of enjoyment. They were reported to be in pain, their muscles aching, their feet bloody and blistered. Yet, they could not stop. They danced and danced, day and night, until they collapsed from exhaustion. Historians have puzzled over the dancing plague for centuries, trying to make sense of this bizarre event. Some believe it was a mass psychogenic illness, a form of mass hysteria where a group of people share a collective delusion or symptom. Others point to ergot poisoning, a type of fungus that grows on rye and can cause hallucinations and convulsions. Local doctors were at a loss for how to treat the dancers. They tried everything from bleeding them to prescribing medications, but nothing seemed to work. The plague continued to spread, with more and more people succumbing to the urge to dance. As word of the dancing plague spread, it began to affect other towns and villages in the region. People from all walks of life, men, women, children, were suddenly struck down by the irresistible urge to dance. It was as if a spell had been cast over the land, trapping its inhabitants in a never-ending dance. The dancers' movements became increasingly erratic and violent. Some would spin in circles until they collapsed, while others flailed their limbs wildly, unaware of their surroundings. It was a scene straight out of a horror movie, yet it was real, a chilling reminder of the power of the human mind. One eyewitness described the dancing plague as a nightmare come to life. She recounted how she had watched in horror as her friends and neighbors succumbed to the madness, unable to do anything to help them. It was a time of fear and uncertainty, as no one knew when the plague would end or what would become of those affected. After several weeks of non-stop dancing, the plague began to wane. The dancers, exhausted and malnourished, finally collapsed from sheer fatigue. Some died from heart attacks or stroke, while others simply could not recover from the physical toll it had taken on their bodies. The dancing plague of 1518 came to an end, leaving behind a trail of devastation and unanswered questions. To this day, historians and scientists continue to study this mysterious event, searching for clues as to what caused it and how it could have been prevented. It remains a haunting reminder of the fragility of the human mind and the power of mass hysteria. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating history content.